Hello and welcome back. Today's topic is gap in career. Though the word is self-explanatory, an employment gap is technically described as a time when a current job seeker was not professionally employed or was not actively looking for work. The longer your work background, the more likely you are to have certain career gaps. Short gaps in employment and apparent research intervals or work transfer usually don't necessitate any clarification during the job interview. Similarly, if the difference existed many years ago and was followed by steady jobs, not many employers will ask you such a question, and you can generally overlook this. Long and recent periods of unemployment, though, on the other hand, necessitate a well thought out job interview response. Gaps in jobs will pose questions about a candidate's competence and loyalty in the minds of the prospective employers. And they may be concerned about whether you are going to stick to a particular job for long or not. So they must be addressed by you no matter what. Be assured of your ability to remain calm and collected while providing an accurate response. Reasons such as taking time off to work further on your education, on your qualifications, on certifications, or taking a maternity break are generally simple enough to explain during a job interview. The first thing to remember is that you're not alone if you have taken a break in your active career. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the vast majority of people have taken some such breaks in their active careers. So at some point in time, they have not been working. So during a particular job interview, how do you justify this particular void in your job industry? When asked about a difference in jobs, a difference of a gap in jobs, it's crucial not to come across as defensive. That's important. Recognize that the interviewer also has certain apprehensions that you need to clear and be calm about it. I understand that you need to know what I was doing at that moment, and I'd like to talk to you about it. Seems like an excellent response. Appear calm and unapologetic. This will show the interviewer that you're confident in your reasoning, and they will also become confident in you. So be conscious of your body language and the message that you're sending during the interview. That's key. A reference check will validate the kind of work that you have done and the work dates. So you won't be able to lie about any such gaps in your resume or during the job interview. So beware about that. The best approach is to provide a straightforward and frank interview response that addresses any questions that the interviewer might have, while also emphasizing your ability to deal with challenging circumstances and problems while concentrating on the future assignment. So there are certain rules, simple rules to obey when it comes to filling these gaps in your career and during an interview process. Be upbeat. You may have hoped that the interviewers will take a quick look at your resume and overlook the gap that you've had for almost 2 years. But let me inform you, I regret to say that that is not true. That won't happen. So what do you do about it? You will almost always find some meaning or the other in how to justify the gap of these 2 years that we're talking about. And that's exactly what you need to portray positively in an upbeat manner. Try to find a few things that you have learned from your time away as you prepare for your job interview, by practicing your answers to the most popular job interview questions and studying the business. There's always a way to frame resume holes as a moment of personal and professional development rather than just downtime where you did not do anything. Whether it's a stretch of freelancing experience or a handful of new skills that you have picked up during your time off, or a realization of what you're passionate about. It could be any of these. Concentrate on how your training helped you advance professionally. Shift the emphasis away from the void in employment and towards what you have gained and achieved in this period, as well as the transferable skills that you will be able to bring back in order to become an excellent candidate for the current role that they're trying to recruit you for. Be positive. That's the second thing you can do. Include any job or volunteering experience you had during this particular career gap. Show how you have remained actively involved while learning new skills. Have you taken on a freelance job, a part-time job, starting your own company, tried to figure out your own businesses, or helped with the family project or the family company? You have a family business that you have helped with, or worked on a passion project, something that you're really passionate about. It could be for a good cause. It's a good idea to include it in your resume and your cover letter. If you have freelanced in several clients with several clients and projects, you can lump them all under a heading that says, okay, freelance web developer. Don't just mention your responsibilities. Show what you have achieved. Just as you did when you were in a full-time role, your roles and responsibilities, exactly what you did, what were the skill sets that you picked up and worked on. Add it to the experience and education portion of your resume as well, along with the dates, whether you went back to school, took past courses to learn new skills, or completed certain pending certification programs. That may really help shine in your resume. 3, make sure that you're ready to actually talk about it. If you have a flaw in your resume, it won't necessarily keep you from progressing through the interview process. Potential employers, on the other hand, would expect a clarification. Take the time to plan ahead of time while thinking about how you will bridge this gap comfortably in a way that exudes both trust and optimism. 4, be truthful. You want to be honest without going into it too much. You don't have to dig deep into it if it's not something that you are really very proud about. So I slash the reason you were not employed, for example, maybe a simple template for your answer. So you need to describe what you did during that time. So getting back to work as a top priority during that particular period, and I'm happy to come back at this point as of now, can be a good response. Here are some examples of how you could fill the template, the template that we just talked about, depending on your circumstances. If you've unfortunately been laid off, my former employer went through a reorganization, a process reorganization, and my job was removed as a result. To be honest, it was a trying time. It was very difficult for me and my family, but I left with the assurance that I had gained lots of valuable experience and formed close bonds with my bosses and co-workers. I'm looking forward to putting those skills to use in my next position. If you've been removed, I had different expectations from the business. When I think back on that experience, I know there were a few things that I should have done differently. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to applying what I've learned to my next job. There's a dicey one too. If you had to take a break for personal reasons, now this can't be too easy to explain. It's not easy to talk about your personal problems or personal reasons. When asked why you were not employed for a while, giving the interviewer the response for personal reasons is normally quite inadequate, can be misinterpreted also. It's ripe for misinterpretation. And it also leaves the interviewer in the dark and with the impression that you may have done something wrong somewhere. This makes it impossible for the interviewer to focus on the good aspects of the kind of work that you have done. It would be best if you went into greater depth. It's always better. You could talk about something that you are able to explain and explain it well. I was able to take some time away from work to concentrate on myself. There were many unanswered questions that I wanted to answer about who I was and where I was going. It was a time of life when I was getting ready to take on new challenges. I'm ecstatic about the possibilities that lie ahead of me, including this position. Have faith in yourself. While discussing how you became unemployed, mainly if you were laid off or fired, it might make you feel a little uncomfortable Don't be alarmed. According to DeSanto, resume gaps are not as prevalent as job seekers can believe. So Armstrong concurs. You probably don't want to work for a business that doesn't understand gaps or doesn't grasp what has happened to our economy since 2008 and the effects on individuals. So although it can be very challenging to answer these questions regarding unemployment, realize that you are not alone. Being ready for whatever comes your way and believing in the skills that you have acquired during your break will help you bridge the gap with poise and professionalism. That's key. Discuss positive points. Although you don't need to go into it in a great detail about what caused you to lose your job or to have this job void, you can detail how you spent that time. Mention some industry related reading that you did, how you kept in touch with your friends and colleagues, contact with them, or what you did to prepare for your re-entry into the corporate. Include any freelance work, voluntary work, or community service roles that you may have done during that time. Any workshops or activities that you either attended or gave to so many others who are freshers in the field, or any other way you furthered your professional skills. Even if you've not been formally hired, the intention is to ensure that you have expressed yourself and that you have actually been positively engaged in something while you were taking a break from business. So keep it short and sweet and exit if necessary. Just remember that. So many people take time off for various reasons. These explanations are often personal and something that you'd rather keep private in a lot of cases. Return the conversation to your motivation and willingness to do the job you're interviewing for after you've resolved the void and discussed what you did during that time. It should be brief, sweet, and simple. You can do this by asking your interviewer a question. That'll turn the tables and focus will change. If the conversation goes in a direction that you're uncomfortable with, you might say, I'd rather not go more in detail into this. Or, however, I'm eager to discuss the specifics of any job experience that could be commensurate for the role that you're actually recruiting for. You should then include any other anecdote from your work experience to demonstrate your suitability for the role. That could really help. But remember, things may not always go as per our expectations. So if things are getting very uncomfortable for you, at any point in time, you can just say, I'm not happy with where our conversation is going. So this might not be the best job fit for me. Thank you so much for your time, and I'd like to leave now. So with this, you have also not just explained your career gap, but you have moved out in a dignified fashion, and there's nothing wrong with that. So this is exactly how these are the various ways in which we answer the career gap question. I hope this has been useful for you, and let's meet once again with something very useful in your career preparation and resume success. All the best. Bye-bye.